Hi, everybody. Welcome to Q&A Tuesday, these inquiry sessions around compulsion. My primary one that felt like it was the most struggle was eating, but this can come in the form of all kinds of compulsion, as we know, drinking, smoking, buying, pursuing information, pursuing enlightenment itself, wanting, grabbing, racing after, trying really hard. So someone sent me a comment, more of a comment than a question, really, but there was a question sort of embedded in it around noticing self-criticism and actually noticing a lot of violent and intense and negative and aggressive thinking. I hate doing this. I hate the way I am. That shouldn't be like this. What is wrong with me? Why do I repetitively think in this way? I hate my thoughts. I hate my intrusive thoughts. Here comes another thought again. Oh, there's that one. Oh, miserable. Hate it. Dangerous. So this person was noticing that. And I thought really, really good awareness for this very experience of compulsion and watching and seeing what it is that we do, because it's almost as if that way of seeing things, whether it's ourselves or the compulsive behavior itself or life, very important, life, because there'll be a lot of focus on who I am over here, the one who's doing the compulsion. And in the backdrop is my thoughts about life are actually that it's dangerous. But there's a lot of thinking and awareness going on around this way of seeing it. And it feels awful. I mean, let's be honest. It feels terrible. Most particularly when we're believing it. So the way this person was asking, what do I do about that voice? There it is. And I notice that it's happening and I feel so wrong. And I'm in this terrible, anxious state. Lots of negativity, lots of thinking about what's going to happen next and that it isn't going to be good. And that I wish it would be another way. And lots of looking at the past and how this has been going on for so long, this same way of seeing things or the same type of feeling inside the body. Okay. I can relate as a human being. I think we all probably can find something around that, that this, it's almost as if there's, from the thoughts perspective, it comes in and it's like giving an overview assessment of your, like rating how you are and how you're doing. And you're coming up with an F for failure. And it could even be a D+, like barely making it. But it doesn't even matter almost if it's A-. It's just not an A. And there's this rating system that's happening. We're just looking and look at what you're doing. I mean, I notice that's still coming through like a reactivity to life. Even if, in my experience, there's no kind of really heavy compulsive behavior that results. So that's possible. It's amazing for anyone. Everyone can have that experience that's already here. And still just watching the thoughts talk about improvement. But this just could be a little better. If we just tweak this, change this around just a little bit, then it will be okay. So in the eating peace immersion that happens to be underway right now, we're looking at shame, and this blends right into shame. In fact, the question came from somebody looking at this topic. We feel shame when we see that way of thinking come up. I don't want to have that kind of thinking. I see that it's so aggressive and violent. Oh my gosh, yes, I do need to do something about that violent thinking. So it's almost as if first there's a lot of thought about my behavior itself. Like, oh, look at what she's doing. Look at what he's doing. And he can't stop doing it. Terrible. That's just so awful. And then look at how he's thinking. Look at how she's thinking and feeling. Terrible. Need to change that. So let's just pause right there with just looking at the behavior, which is so easy to see, or the way of thinking about something that you do, reactivity. And if you weren't against it, and if we weren't against that way of being, that might seem so strange. How could I not be against anxiety pouring in? Thoughts that come in that I don't even want to be thinking. How could I not be against binge eating? Felt so aggressive and so awful. How can I not be against getting drunk or spending hours on the internet? How can I not be against that thing? I've read the books. The Navy SEALs write lots of books about controlling yourself and getting it together. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I kind of love those. But like, why can't I do it? Discouragement, shame, fear, disappointment. I'm just not okay. Why even bother? Hopeless. I want to give up. Even having the thought I want to give up is a failure. I shouldn't be thinking that. I need to press on. It's almost as if anything that comes into the mind and in consciousness here is like could be adjusted and corrected and improved. The very thoughts. So what if, first of all, with the more obvious behavior, we just simply allowed ourselves to be having that behavior? What if it was okay to be having it? Because what's the reality? There it is happening. I remember saying how many years I've been doing this behavior. When are you going to stop? Like so many years. People often will look at their lifeline and say, I've had this behavior. I've been eating since I was 8 years old. That was my first binge eat. I've been anxious since I was 12. And so there's commentary in there about the length of time and the pain and agony and that's going on here, and that it's even bigger because it's so long, and I've been hunting down the way to solve this problem. So it's strange to say, what if it was okay that we just let it be there the way it is? And in fact, what if instead of trying to get rid of this behavior, that seems like the most tangible, it's the thing sort of manifested in life. It's like the actual, I can look at it, this condition. It might even be weight of the body and kind of the way I do it. Or there I am having screaming at somebody again. If your reactivity is anger. I was talking to somebody earlier this week about their compulsive activity is being enraged at people, losing it, getting really mad. That's so interesting. So, but we see how that looks, and just allowing for this moment here right now. What if we didn't have to get rid of that or change it? It seems very odd, very counterintuitive, very weird. What if I don't have to get rid of that? Because it seems so uncomfortable and so painful, and it's actually violent, and it's messed up my life. But what if? Because all the trying to stop it, all that trying to stop it hasn't worked. It'd be working by now if that was easy to just go like, I think I'll stop. So something is causing this to rise up in the human experience. Many, many people experience compulsion of some kind, whatever we're calling compulsion, just like busy, responsive, reactive, boom, here it is. Feelings in the body and behavior. So it's very, very human. So what if we just let it be the way it is, since that's very human? And just for this moment, who would you be if you didn't have to be against the feelings, the thoughts, the behavior itself? What if it is here as an invitation, as an offering, even as a gift? I know that's a pretty dramatic word. What if it's something that is here? Doesn't mean I have to be with it forever. It's okay to be noticing the discomfort and the difficulty and sadness of it. But what if it's there as a way of life getting my attention? Something wants my attention. Could it be that when I think I hate this and I'm so against it and I want it to go away, I'm resisting a knock on the door? And it might be a big, loud booming on the door. Hello, hello, let me in. Who am I if I don't resist this experience? If I stopped trying to be okay and stop this compulsion, who would I be? Who would I be if I just didn't see it that way for a minute? Like, this is really terrible and I got to figure out how to stop and quit. And I mean, okay to, oddly, the paradox of course, there's something that seems so off balance. Of course, we want to quit. But what if it's different from however I've been thinking about it, like that I need to control or attack or resist something? I like to think of it as an opening almost in the heart. I mean, I point here and say heart. It's sort of down in the body, in the body instead of up here in the head where it feels like there's a lot of thinking energy, and kind of thinking energy, it feels like is out in front of us. Like it feels like it's making me lean forward if I took a pose that looks like that, or run in that direction, leaning forward and fight and grip my fists like this. What if I just dropped into letting this be the way it's been and open up to this condition called compulsive behavior, the storm that happens. And I just let myself wonder, oh, hello, you've arrived. Thank you for coming. I'm going to slow down now and give you some attention. I'm curious. What's your message? Oh, what would you like me to know? What did I miss before it got really dense and hard and harsh? What was I missing here? There was a sound of something saying, hello, hello, and I wasn't listening, or I was afraid to listen. I didn't want to hear that voice. It's like I'm being stalked by an evil person, and I didn't want to listen. So I even picked up the pace and kind of went running and tried to hide. Who would I be if I turned around and looked at the stalker? Strange. Who would I be without the story? This is just absolutely true that it's so dangerous, or so shameful too, that I shouldn't be looking at this, that I can hardly stand that I have this, and for all those years. Who would I be without my story about it, of being shameful and doing it wrong and being, having the wrong thinking, having the wrong experience here? What if I wasn't having the wrong experience? There's something calling to my attention. I like the this metaphor, this way of seeing something is like, if in your body you begin to feel cold. It's winter where I am right now, and it's been drizzling rain and then lightly snowing, and then there's ice on the road and then a little drizzling of rain, and it is quite cold. And inside, I wrap myself with a blanket. My legs are wrapped in a blanket, and the temperature kind of goes up and down inside the house. And I just suddenly, I get this, wow, I am getting quite cold here. I need to go get the blanket. I need to put on a warmer sweater. And if I didn't think, and then there's a movement towards that greater warmth, like I'm turning up the heat and just doing it and just being that way, just feeling the temperature. Something just says, and there's no argument about getting the sweater or getting an extra blanket. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's a little too much. Just have only that one sweater. And you could even do better if you didn't even have the sweater. That would be kind of amazing. Just stay where it's at right there. That's a lot better. Be strong without the sweater and without the blanket. It's almost like that's what we're doing with the compulsion. Like, I hate that thing. There's so much judgment on it. And I'm better if I don't do it and if I control and resist and fight it off. But what if it just was a natural opening into, a movement towards some kind of balance? There's something off balance here. Something's off balance, and life is really calling for my attention. So what else could I do except for be curious and respond? Say, okay, I'd like to open up and open my heart, open my sort of my body, my physical experience towards this, and just let myself see perhaps that I'm, instead of being the wrong person or threatened, that I'm safe and I'm okay. I can even just stop trying to be okay. And often there's something that was happening as in the buildup. We've gotten into these patterns so strongly of sort of a buildup and then a breakdown of, we're just going to go for the whole thing that we usually do, and then starting over again. But what's the way that we're seeing life itself in a way before that, and ourselves prior to this compulsion ever happening? I know for me, when I look back, it actually sometimes helps to go with those images from the past, which, yes, are no longer happening now, but to see what it was that was going on. What's the kind of formation of the thinking and the way I'm seeing life that would bring me this compulsive movement, this really intense, heavy feeling of tightness and needing to break out of something. I mean, you have to have some thoughts about life itself to have any compulsion going on. It's not just randomly popping in from absolute nowhere, as if the world is, randomly dangerous or something. There must be something that how I'm seeing life before the compulsion rises up. And I remember, and it still is like the way of it. It'll be, this is not okay right here. Something just isn't, I won't make it. It isn't safe. This isn't good. And it can be from anywhere in the timeline of your life. Sometimes it's quite young. It looks like things are dangerous. It looks like I have to do something about the threat of life itself, and then I just won't be safe later. What if you were just get a little drop or a touch of being safe right now? Because notice that we're just here right now in the moment, looking at thought, kind of reviewing compulsion, definitely being interested in this problem that happens. I'm very curious. Life is saying, hello, take a look. And while I'm doing it, I'm totally safe. Just being. You can feel your body. Notice that you can feel your body in an instant. When I say, bring your attention into your feet, instantly, you know where your feet are and you can feel it, and your attention is in your feet. And there's a presence here, a presence in this moment, even if thinking is moving through actively. That's just letting everything be here, letting it all be here the way it's been and the way it is, the way it will be, but just in the moment here. It's very welcoming and open. And to be in touch with that, no matter what's happened. If I don't have to try to get rid of anything or try to grab something that isn't here, that's missing, who would I be? Who would I be right here? Just feeling the body, feeling the space in the room where I am, feeling the sense of being alive in this moment. All the senses help that come together. And noticing it, there's something that feels like without thought. Thought would come right after this presence. It would start talking about what it's like and what it might be like soon, what it's been like in the past. And imagine being able to bring that everywhere you go, even though there's a lot of activity and people talking and things to do, like an internal space, just that thing that can feel the presence of the body right here. And wondering about that storm that happens with compulsion. And just turning toward it instead of so away from it, running away from it, wanting to kill it and shut it down. Just imagining, what if I had that just a little openness, just a little bit, just a drop of openness towards this thing that seems to express itself through compulsion, even compulsive thinking. And just letting it be there. We'll just go that far today. Just letting it be there. Not doing anything about it at all. So there can be more with finding turnarounds and seeing how this runs and how it works, but it's there can be some rest and relief in just that by itself, just that. So that question, how do I stop, this compulsion? Or I love that the mind would ask that question. Well, how do I fix it? How do I do it? What do I do next? And just not knowing, not needing to know how, not needing to know anything that's not here. How kind of implies like I don't know what to do, and I know that we do learn things in life, and you didn't know how to do it, and then you do know how to do it. And with this, like, it's just the attitude around the how is like, God, I'm hunting it down and I can't seem to find it. And what if we could just relax with that grabbish feeling and just relax, letting our experience be as it is, and noticing that the mind has determined things that are not safe. I love seeing that, and things that are shame-worthy, things that I need to hide, attitudes that I have that I think shouldn't be here. And just imagining without the story, They shouldn't be here. Just a human being human, having thoughts that look crazy sometimes, being afraid of life because of the uncertainty and the unknown, not liking having that I don't know, that there's so much that I don't know. Just noticing these are all thoughts, and I can kind of rest with that I don't know. And maybe not knowing is not as dangerous as I think. There might even be a benefit to not knowing, just trusting. Just the way we don't need to have thought to, if I say, feel your feet. You just know where your feet, oh, where are my feet? Wait, how do I do that? You just know how to do it. So feeling. If I simply felt open, non-resistant, allowing, curious, who am I? Who am I? So let me know how it goes. You're so welcome. All right. Lots of love, everybody.